Hello, I'm Robert Tolpe, and today we're talking about the false theory that aliens visited ancient societies and gave them knowledge and technology they purportedly could have never discovered themselves because they weren't white Europeans. Despite the theory being problematic, the History Channel decided to air 17 seasons and counting worth of a TV show called Ancient Aliens, detailing every aspect of it. In this video, I will wade through the sewage of pseudo-archaeology and conspiracy and get to the bottom of how the ancient alien hypothesis and the TV show it inspired are rooted in colonial and supremacist ideologies. So let's talk about that, shall we? In the early 19th century, as white settlers pushed their way through the American continent, they began to encounter curious dirt mounds towering up to 100 feet tall. These mounds were, of course, constructed by ancient Native American civilizations and are remnants of once bustling cities. But the very thought that Native Americans created these mounds was unfathomable. Their construction was attributed to a race of giants towering up to 14 feet tall. It was said that Vikings came to America and constructed them, or Egyptians, or basically anyone but Native Americans. This mythology was not just a product of 19th century naivete. It served a sinister purpose. President Andrew Jackson stated in his 1830 congressional address that, "In the monuments and fortresses of an unknown people spread over the extensive regions of the West, we behold the memorials of a once powerful race, which was exterminated or had disappeared, to make room for the existing savage tribes." In denying the Native Americans' involvement in the construction of these structures, and by attributing their construction to an extinct civilized race, Andrew Jackson invalidated Native American ownership of their land by claiming they were just savage inhabitants of a land that truly belonged to a civilized people. He said this as part of his address justifying the Indian Removal Act, which he signed earlier in May of that year. In his mind, removing the native peoples from their land was just part of reclaiming what rightfully belonged to a civilized race like his. So what does all that have to do with the TV show Ancient Aliens? I want you to check out part of an episode from season 9.
Why would a so-called primitive people have constructed a massive earthwork that, like the geoglyphs and lines in Nazca, went unnoticed and undetected by those on the ground for hundreds of years? Could the Serpent Mound be a marker where extraterrestrial beings mined iridium as an energy source, as some ancient astronaut researchers believe?
So it's basically the exact same myth, with the Aryan Viking race of giants or whatever being replaced with aliens. And if it's just the exact same myth redressed, then are the intentions the same? While certainly supremacist ideologies and goals have changed over the years, the underlying theme is consistent, that white people lay claim to the globe, if not the universe, and have every right to take it for themselves. Nationalists on the far right continue to perpetuate myths that they weaponize against non-white people by manufacturing threats to the existence of the white race, the ultimate threat being extinction. The concept of the extinction of white people was popularized by these precursors to modern ancient alien theories, in which white Europeans came to the US, left behind arrowheads and mounds, and then disappeared. The alleged cause of their disappearance was that their bloodline became impure as they intermingled with the Native American populations. But obviously that is blatantly problematic and jived a little too much with the theories of a certain political party that was all the rage in Germany during the 1940s. So because of its poor reputation, the theory had to be rebranded. It became increasingly esoteric and eventually found its way into the ancient alien canon. It developed into this theory that instead of advanced Europeans coming to ancient civilizations and going extinct after their genes intermixed with the native populations, it was aliens. Considering the Eurocentric and supremacist ideas underlying the theory, I'd hope that the History Channel maybe wouldn't do a segment on it for Ancient Aliens, but alas.
If such anatomical irregularities are a link to our ancient ancestors, as some scientists suggest, could it be that they are not the remnants of a reptilian stage in human development, but instead reveal that humans once commingled with reptilian aliens. Further clues can be found in the stories of China's first emperor.
They were humanoid in form in the sense that their upper bodies were that of humans, but their lower bodies were that of snakes.
Oh dear. You see what I'm saying? This is the same far-right stuff with an ET cameo. But the History Channel doesn't care as long as it gets the ratings. Ancient Aliens is their top-performing show, taking up a prime-time slot. So if they feel the need to delve into unhinged far-right theories to get the ratings, they do it. Another example of the kind of garbage they broadcast internationally is this segment on the Hollow Earth theory.
Later, he flew over the South Pole.
It's rumored that when Admiral Byrd's task force actually got to Antarctica, that one of the first things they discovered was an entrance into a hollow Earth civilization that was populated by very, very advanced beings.
So essentially they theorize that a superior race of beings live within the Earth. What if I told you that this theory was popularized by a guy named Ernest Zundel, a modern adherent to the beliefs of a certain political party popular in Germany during the 1940s? He was a neo something. Anyways, they believed that members of this popular political party developed UFOs and were hiding underneath the South Pole. Sound familiar?
What he called a new kind of craft that could fly from pole to pole.
Yeah, the History Channel is giving credence to this nonsense. But how did we get to this point where a major television network is airing literal fringe theories connected with a certain German political party? This giant leap from blatant prejudice to extraterrestrial fairy tale can largely be attributed to the publication of a book called Chariots of the Gods, which has become the ancient astronaut Bible, selling over 7 million copies. Despite the book being denounced and debunked by many scholars, the book's legacy continues to this day. If you know someone who believes that the pyramids were built by aliens, it's in part due to the publication of that book. The book inspired most of the content on the show about ancient aliens. In fact, one of the authors is a guest on the show. Speaking of guests on the show, let's talk about how the show sells these lies about history in a way that seems believable. The speakers on the show are a hodgepodge group of actual experts in their fields, mixed in with deranged lunatics that believe the Earth is hollow and that advanced beings are living inside of it. They all have fancy captions underneath their names and are filmed in the same studio wearing nice clothes, so it's hard to tell them apart. By presenting these people as if they have the same credentials, the experts become indistinguishable from the crazies, so your experience watching it is that everyone looks like an expert. And because not many people have PhDs in archaeology, it's pretty easy to accept what they're saying as fact. To complicate things further, the absurd lies are mixed in with actual facts from real experts. The show uses a two truths and a lie strategy to convince you that what they're saying is all true. Take that hollow Earth example. First, they say that we have only drilled a few miles into the Earth's surface, so we have not directly observed what's inside the Earth, which is true. Then they say that we probably know more about the surface of the moon than about the ocean floor, which is at least partially true. Most of the ocean floor has yet to be explored. And then they say that the Earth is hollow and that there are people living inside of it. And I feel like I shouldn't have to tell you that that is nonsense. The information they give is also framed in a certain way that makes it seem more captivating. The theories are characterized as secrets that mainstream archaeologists don't want you to know, despite the fact that archaeologists aren't keeping any secrets and the truth is readily available in every textbook. But by inviting you into their club of people in the know, the ancient astronaut theorists make you feel enlightened so they can cram more junk into your mind. The most laughable part of the show is that the History Channel knows that all of it is garbage, so they go to great lengths to distance themselves from what they've been platforming for 17 seasons straight. Every crackpot theory begins or ends with, as ancient astronaut theorists believe,
as some ancient astronaut researchers believe.
And every proven fact about archaeology ends with a but to cast doubt upon it.
The Fort Ancient People built the mounds nearly 1,000 years ago? But if so,
in this way, the History Channel tries to make itself this uninvolved third party, an observer of an intellectual back and forth between alien experts and stuffy archaeologists. You see, it's a real debate here. Either Africans built the pyramids or a race of aliens zapped them into existence. Both ideas are completely valid, and we should hear both sides. Okay, but what about the actual experts on the show? Surely they can counter this crazy talk. Well, they're up against the power of editing. This isn't a live discussion, it's taped. Bits and pieces of what they say are spliced in with the alien theorists to support their baseless claims. These experts don't seem to be doing much good. If anything, the presence of anyone with credentials whatsoever on the show just makes the show seem more respectable. This formula that the show uses in mixing fact and fiction is evidently successful in captivating the minds of the masses. In 2017, more than 1 million people tuned in to watch the show each week, and today countless more people watch it on streaming platforms. Some people featured on the show have become celebrities in certain circles. They make appearances at popular conventions, most notably AlienCon, where they speak on panels and answer questions from Ancient Aliens fans. But who are these fans exactly? Well, they come from all walks of life, and a lot of them just find the whole thing amusing. But I'm concerned that the ancient alien theory has become a gateway to a lot of other theories, ones that are much more forthcoming about their intentions. And we've all seen how false ideas can spiral out of control. The only question remaining is what is so captivating about the theory of ancient aliens in the first place? Anthropological archaeologist Franco de Rossi has stated that the idea that we came from an alien civilization became a charter of sorts for expansion given to white Americans, what he refers to as weird galactic manifest destiny. It's the idea that if we came from the universe, then the universe belongs to us. If humanity originated from a civilization of intergalactic beings, it means that we could once again attain greatness. It means that there's hope in a world ravaged by disease and climate change. While I do like inspiring, albeit fanciful stories that give people hope that they will achieve greatness beyond the confines of Earth, I think this story needs to be laid to rest. It's disconcerting how it's the very same story that was told to the people who colonized the Americas and did unspeakable things to the indigenous population here. It's also worrisome that the kind of people in these stories of exploring the stars are predominantly rich and white, and it's extra worrisome that those are the exact kinds of people who are actually going into space right now. As for the TV show, any and all sense of wonder has completely dried up. It has simply become a bunch of older white men pretending to know what they're talking about and devaluing all the accomplishments of non-white ancient peoples. But I guess that's what the show was all along. Anyways, I'm Robert Tolpe, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, maybe even check out my Patreon on the way out, and I hope you have a great week. Bye-bye!